Good morning. Today is Tuesday. It is Chaf Zayin Kislev Tofshin Ayin Zayin, the third day of Hanukkah. We are in Teres Menachem, Sefer Mamar Tofshin Yud Gimel. We are about to begin a new Maimer. We're beginning the Maimer of Purim Tofshin Yud Gimel, the first Maimer. As it happens, that Farbrengen of Purim Tofshin Yud Gimel was a very interesting Farbrengen, very special Farbrengen, in that the Rebbe said two Mamorim during that Farbrengen. That wasn't extremely unusual. It did happen on other occasions that the Rebbe said two Mamorim. But what was unique about that Farbrengen was that the first Maimer was right at the outset of the Farbrengen, right in the beginning. The Rebbe said the first Maimer, and then much later on, the Rebbe suddenly started saying another Maimer, which we're going to learn after this one. In fact, that Maimer is edited. Unlike this one, the Rebbe, at a later stage, edited the Maimer. I think in Tafshin Nun Aleph, I believe the Rebbe edited it, much later, 1991. And that Maimer was connected to some unique, extraordinary historical events that took place then, and that was the death of Stalin. But we'll get to that when we get to the next Maimer. Morning, Akiva.
The Gregorian date?
I think it was the 5th of March, or thereabouts.
No, the year.
1953. Yeah. So, we'll talk about that a little more when we get to the next Maimer. But this was the Maimer that Rebbe said in the beginning of the Farbrengen, with the usual Nigan and so on and so forth. I think the second Maimer was out of Nigan, but we'll discuss that when we get there. We are in Teres Menachem Sefer HaMamorim Tafshin Yud Gimel on page Kuf Aleph. The Maimer of Purim. Vayehi Oimein es Hadassha, he Esther, and he raised Hadassah. Mordechai raised Hadassah, she is Esther. That's a pasuk, a verse in Megillas Esther, in the scroll of Esther. Now, obviously, immediately comes to the fore, what does it mean, Hadassah, he Esther? Hadassah is Esther. V'isa b'Gemara, the Talmud in Megillah brings, Kori la Hadassah, v'Kori la Esther. The verse calls her with the name Hadassah, and calls her with the name Esther. So in other words, which one was it? Or was it both? Or what does that mean? So the Gemara continues and says, why was she called Hadassah? She was named so after the tzaddikim shenikru Hadassim. Tzaddikim are called Hadassim, myrtles. V'chein ho'emer, as it is also stated in the verse, this is in the prophecy of Zechariah, of the prophet Zechariah. V'hu oimed bein Hadassim. He talks over there about a vision that he had of a man, I think, riding a red horse, standing in the middle of a pool filled with myrtles. He's standing among the myrtles. So Rashi explains in the Gemara there that what does it mean he's standing among the myrtles? The myrtles is a reference to the tzaddikim, to the righteous people in Bavel. Okay? So we see that myrtles, Hadassim, are connected to what? To tzaddikim. So she was called Hadassah, named after the righteous, her righteousness, or named after the righteous. The Lama Nikras Shmo Esther, and why was her name called Esther? The Gemara carries on. Al Shem Shahisa Masteres Dvareha. This was after the fact. She was named so after the fact that she would hide her words, meaning to say she hid her identity. She didn't inform Achashverosh the fact that she was what? A Jewess. Shenemer Ein Esther Mageres. As the verse carries on, it says Esther did not tell. There's another opinion there in the Gemara. Esther. Why was she called Esther? Because the nations of the world called her Esther, named after Istahar. What's Istahar? Rashi says Istahar is the moon, signifying her beauty, as beautiful as the moon. I believe in Yalkut Shimoni, in other places in Medrash, it says Istahar is Noiga, is the star of Noiga, which I believe is Venus. But be that as it may, she was named after the moon or a star, signifying her beauty. That's the Gemara. It says the Rebbe, we need to understand, Mao, in Beis Hashem is the Hadassah Esther, what is the content, the meaning of these two names, Hadassah and Esther, in the deeper sense. It's not just obviously it's telling us what her names were, but why? What's the deeper meaning of it? V'gam also, why is it important to denote the name by which the nations of the world called her? What's this negeh? What's the relevance of that? That the nations of the world called her Esther. Says the Rebbe, the explanation is this: Ki yudua, it is known, she Esther hisfiras hamalchus. Esther is what? When we talk about the divine attributes, the spheres elyonis, right? Esther is a reference to what? To the divine attribute of Malchus. V'yesh bo beis madreges. In Malchus, there are two levels, two aspects to Malchus. Madrego elyonis shenikras Hadassah, the higher level of Malchus, is referred to as Hadassah. Madrega tachteina shenikras Esther, there is a lower level which is referred to as Esther. We know that in Malchus there are two dimensions to Malchus. There's Malchus as it is in Atzilus, in the realm of Atzilus, and still related to the realm of Atzilus. And then there is the aspect of Malchus as it descends into Biyah, into the three lower realms, Bri, Yitzir, and Asir. So Malchus as it is in the realm of Atzilus is referred to as what? Hadassah. And Malchus as it descends into the lower levels is referred to as Esther. Hadassah hi Esther. And it is concerning this that it says in the verse that Hadassah is Esther, meaning to say, in other words, Shegam hamadrege shenikras Esther, that also the lower level, which is referred to as Esther, hi Hadassah, is still Hadassah, meaning to say that despite descending lower, it still retains the aspects of the higher level in Malchus. The Rebbe will flesh all that out. Says the Rebbe, we need to understand the explanation of this matter. And what's the bottom line? How this reflects, how this comes out in our service of Hashem. Says the Rebbe, it is known that which Mashakosov or Masha Omar, that which my father-in-law, the Rebbe, the previous Rebbe said, and he's repeated this oft times. The kol inyan haskola hurak hakdom al that every intellectual idea of Chassidus, the intellectual concepts of Chassidus, are merely a preparation, a preface to actualizing it in our service of Hashem. The kol inyan sheyeshne ba'askola, and everything that there is within Chassidus, within the intellectual aspects of Chassidus, efsher lo havi arab trogen mimenu bechein ba'aveda, we can bring down and we can carry it out. We can extract from it a bechein, an actual message and meaning in our service of Hashem, a practical way of serving Hashem. And therefore, based on this, we have to bring out. It's imperative that from every intellectual idea of Chassidus, we should bring out something in our actual service of Hashem. So, what is it? What's Esther, Hadassah, higher level of Malchus, lower level of Malchus, and so on. Beis. The explanation is this. The Gemara says, Talmud where? Again, this is a Talmud in Chulin. So the Talmud says, Esther min ha-Torah minayin. Where do we find a source for Esther in the written Torah? We know that Esther, of course, lived much later, right? And the Gemara seems to feel that it needs to have a source. Everything needs to have a source in the written Torah. So where do we find?
Later?
It's not in the context of the 5 books of the Chamisha Chom Torah. Esther lived many years later. So the Gemara asks, where do we find a source for Esther in the written Torah? So the Gemara says, it says in the pasuk, the Ksiv, "V'neichi haster aster pora b'yemahu." In Pashas Vayelech, when Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Yidden, the Bnei Yisrael, what's going to happen in future times, he says, these events will happen, you will go off the path, and so on and so forth. And Hashem says, "V'neichi haster aster pora b'yemahu," and I will hide my face on that day. So, "V'neichi haster aster," I will conceal, I will hide. Esther, Aster, is from the same, etymologically, it's the same word, from the same root. That's the source for Esther in the Torah. But what do we see? That in association with the word Aster, which is the source for Esther in the Torah, it says, Aster, what am I going to hide, says Hashem? Ponai. So there's an association between what? Between Ponim, the face, or the inside, the inner dimension, and what? And Esther. That's the point that Rebbe makes. V'hainu, sha'ponim de lamayla, ponai hem b'chinas Esther. What are we talking about over here? We're talking about over here a concept of the celestial face, as it were, which the Rebbe will explain, in a manner of concealment, hidden. So the Rebbe goes on, for although Hashem has no body and has no form of a body, we know that above there are these conceptual dimensions of ponim inside, yamin right, smoil left, v'acher and back. 4 dimensions. And this is the meaning when the verse says, I will hide my face, hainu, shebchinas haponim l'mayla, because this aspect, this level of godliness, which is denoted, which is referred to as ponim, the inside, yesh k'meishahu begilui, v'yesh k'meishahu behester. There is the way this level is revealed, and there is the way this level is concealed. So when we say, v'anoichi haster aster ponai, what does that mean? This level of ponim, this level of godliness, referred to as the inside, which we will soon see what that is, in a state of concealment.
Ponim is also revealed, right? The face is revealed.
Yeah, I guess so. Over here he explains, I guess ponim over here, yeah, I mean, there's front, but in the notional sense, when you talk about front, what's the pshat?
Ponim is what cream is, but that's the thing, because usually a person's penis is reflected in the face. Hadassha is.
Okay, so there is this level of ponim in a state of concealment. So in other words, there's a level which is lechatchila acher, there's a level which is lechatchila the back, or I guess over here he probably means more not concealed but superficial. And then there's a level which is bibchinas ponim, and nevertheless there is a state as that level of ponim is bibchinas hester, is in a concealed form. The Rebbe will flesh it out in a minute.
The way it's written says ponim and yamin instead of ponim of acharim. He's saying this ponim is connected to yamin, and small is connected.
Because as you'll see later on, the Rebbe brings from the Ramaz, who wrote a commentary on the Zohar, wrote many Sforim, but one of them is a commentary on the Zohar. I believe he lived in the 17th century. I think he was, if I remember correctly, having looked it up, that he was a student of one of the students of the Shalom. Very, very authoritative on Kabbalah of the Arizal. Other parts of the Kabbalah. He wrote a commentary on the Zohar. So on a certain Zohar where he brings these 4 dimensions, Ponim, Yamin, Acher, and Ponim, Yamin, Smoil, and Acher, he explains Ponim is Atzilus. Then we'll bring it, we'll see it on the next page. Ponim is Atzilus. Yamin is Bria. Smoil is Yitzira. And Acher is Asiya. So you're right in the sense that it's not just ponim. That's why they choose this particular order, because it denotes the descending levels in order from Atzilus, going down to where? To Asiya. Another couple of lines. So there is this level of ponim above, as it is in a revealed state, and there's the level of ponim above, as it is in a concealed state. And that's Astir Ponai. The Ponim of Chilas Malchus Atzilus. What are we referring to? The Rebbe says when we say Ponim, this is the level, the aspect of Malchus in the realm of Atzilus. It will come on as we will explain shortly, says the Rebbe. And in the level of Malchus of Atzilus, there are 2 levels. There is Malchus, the last of the 10 divine attributes in Atzilus, as it is within Atzilus, within the realm of Atzilus, of emanation. She'oz nikras Hadassha al Shem Tzadikim, on top of page Kuf Beis. Then Malchus is referred to Hadassah, as we just mentioned before. The Gemara says, why was she called Hadassah? This is a reference to Tzadikim, as it says in the Nevuah of Zechariah, in the vision of Zechariah. It says that the angel that he saw was standing among the Hadassim, among the myrtles, and as Rashi explains, this is a reference to the righteous people in Bavel. So Hadassah is a reference to Tzadikim, righteous. This is a reference to Malchus as it is in the realm of Atzilus. Why? Because in Atzilus everything is righteous. There's nothing besides righteousness in Atzilus. Because concerning the realm of Atzilus, as it says in the verse in Tilim, it says, Lo yigur chara, evil does not dwell with you. Where is that? It says in the Kabbalah and Chassidus that this is in Atzilus. In Atzilus there's no ra, there's no bad, there's only good, there's only kedusha, only holiness, godliness. So therefore, lachein kamesha he b'Atzilus nikras Hadassah Shem Tzadikim. That's why, as Malchus is in the realm of Atzilus, it's referred to as Hadassah, named after the righteous, meaning the pure holiness that's there.
Is that because klippos don't exist in Atzilus, or is it because from the level of Atzilus there's no difference between klipp and Kelim?
So,
is it because there really isn't evil, or because at that level, because at some level evil and goodness is the same thing for sure?
So the way Chassidus normally explains it is that there is no klippa in Atzilus, meaning to say, although when we talk about, for example, the Shviras HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels, that happened in Toyu, right? In the world of chaos, which is beyond Atzilus, and it fell from Toyu into Tikkun, from Toyu into Atzilus, from Atzilus into Bria, from Bria into Yitzira Nasiya. So there is these fragments, these nitzutzes, these fragments, as it were, that are klippa. So steht in Chassidus that it's not in Atzilus, it fell in it's from Atzilus, it falls into Bria. So there is a discussion because, first of all, as we know, the Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya that Atzilus is kulei tov, Bria is rubik kulei tov, Atzilus is completely good, Bria is mostly.
Yes, this is what I'm asking. When it says all good, is it from what perspective?
Generally, it means that in Atzilus there is no Ra. But there are hints, there are places in Chassidus where it does talk about Klippa. There is a Klippa of Atzilus, like Noiga or something like that, not completely. But generally, it's a reference to the fact that there is no Ra in Atzilus. Lo yigur chara. Right? So as Malchus is in the realm of Atzilus, it's referred to as Hadassah, named after the righteous, meaning to say it's completely good. There is the way Malchus already becomes an atik, meaning to say the level of Keser, the crown, the beginning of the root, as it were, for the partzuf, for Bria, for the 10 divine attributes of Bria. That's when Malchus of Atzilus already becomes in a state of concealment. Then she's referred to as Esther, because she hides her words, so to speak, meaning to say she conceals herself in order to be able to transmit on to where? To Bria, to the lower realms. Hadassah he Esther, and as concerning this, the verse says that Hadassah really is Esther, meaning to say, Malchus also, the way it becomes in a state of an atik, a keser, a crown, for the realm of Bria, mishtalshelas lamata, and descends below in the manner of Seder Shtalshelos, of the chain order of creation, it still retains all the aspects and all the matters that Malchus possesses as it is in Atzilus, albeit in a concealed state. And going through the Mamar, please God, the Rebbe will flesh all this out and hopefully bring it out also, as the Rebbe said, what it means to us in our service of Hashem. Even though it's a Mamar of Purim, I want to wish you a happy Chanukah.